Hi there, welcome back to my channel. My name is Riley and I am the owner and crocheter behind Pocketful of Posies. In today's video, I'm just going to be doing a quick recap of some of the things I've made recently, what's coming up in the next week or so, and also I want to share with you a brand new to me yarn that I was graciously gifted to try out. If that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around, grab a drink, grab a project, and let's get into it. Thanks for joining me today for my crochet vlog. As I mentioned in my previous one, my kiddos are home for summer, so my backdrop currently looks a little bit different than in previous videos. I'm hoping to maybe add something here to make it a little bit more visually interesting. But for now, I'm just working with what I've got. In my last video, I did mention that I had another pattern test that I was finishing up that I was really excited to share with you. And that pattern test is now over and the pattern has actually been released. And what I was working on is Fern from Not Magic. Fern is a smaller version of Not Magic's Fern, the mushroomkin or mushkin. And as soon as I saw the tester call for this one, I knew I wanted to make it. I've kind of been eyeing Fern for a while, but knowing that this was a smaller make and therefore might be a more market-friendly make, I was super excited to see this one. Had I not been chosen for the pattern test, I was totally planning on purchasing the pattern anyway, just because it is so cute. So for my Fern, I decided to go with a foresty type of theme. And I just think it turned out so super cute. You can see the cute little dots on the mushroom cap. Now this is completed in Bernat blanket yarn. So even as a Bernat make, you can tell this is not too huge. And I did use 30mm eyes on this one. These beautiful brown eyes are from my friend Britt, Nerdy Girl Crochets. She has a beautiful collection called Toffee, and a lot of eye designers don't do like browns and more neutral, natural eye colors, but Britt did, and I absolutely fell in love with these when I saw them. They are perfect when you kind of want like a warm eye, or if you're making a doll or something like that. So I knew they would be perfect for this project. I enjoyed making Fern so much that I actually made a second Fern during the test, but I didn't have time to upload photos to the tester appreciation page. But I have to show you this other Fern I made. Here is my other Fern. You can tell this one is a lot smaller. This one was made using a combination of Sweet Snuggles Light from Michaels and also the Aojong Edelweiss yarn that I have shared in the past. So that is this mint color that I used here. And you can see the eyes I went for on this one are actually a white pupil. I don't have a lot of white pupil eyes just because I'm never 100% sure how they're going to look on a project. Sometimes the white pupil eyes can lean a little bit more creepy than is my personal aesthetic for my brand, but I think they work really well on this one. And instead of giving it a creepy vibe, it gives it kind of a ocean underwater vibe. And I think I did a really good job matching my yarn to the eyes so it all looks nice and cohesive. These eyes were painted by 3J's Handcrafts, and I believe I received them in their mystery advent calendar eye drop that I got a couple years back. These particular eyes are size 25mm and they worked perfectly with this size yarn. Since completing my Fern pattern test, I also have been working on a pattern test for my friend Erin, the Crochet Carpenter. I've shared some of Erin's patterns in previous videos. Erin is a super talented designer and he has really become well known for his Stitchkins line, which are lots of low or no-sew makes that can be made as either a plushie or a finger puppet. And they're not very big, which makes them super great for markets. So Erin has started releasing dinosaurs in his Stitchkins line, and I had the honor of testing Spud the Stegosaurus. Because I'm planning on bringing Erin's patterns with me to my next market, I decided that I was going to go with the plushie version. They just work up a little bit faster, which means I can keep the price a little bit lower. However, if I was making these for a gift or for one of my own children, I would absolutely be making them as finger puppets because I think that is such a fun, unique element to his designs. The pattern for Spud is not out yet, but I will make sure to link Aaron's Etsy shop down below so that you can check out all the amazing other patterns he has. He actually has one out already called Tater the Triceratops, which is darling, and I actually just grabbed that one recently to go with the set of dinos. But once the pattern releases, I will come back and update the link to go directly to this pattern. During the testing period, Aaron was also in the middle of designing another Stitchkin and decided to do a surprise release of a second dino, and that is for Tot the Brontosaurus. Tot is absolutely adorable. I forgot to mention that Spud is a no-sew pattern. There is no sewing when you work on this pattern. Everything is crocheted all at once or surface crocheted. Tot, on the other hand, does involve a little bit of sewing, and that is just attaching the head and neck to the body. It's just a few stitches and it still worked up very quickly, which in my opinion means it's still a great market make. And again, you can also make this pattern as a finger puppet if you wish. I decided when I was making these two that I wanted to make sure that their colors coordinated, and I think I did a really good job of that, but now I'm not really sure what color to do for Tater the Triceratops. So if you have any ideas, let me know. I'm thinking maybe a blue would kind of go with these two greenish colored ones. But if you have any other ideas, let me know what you think in the comments. The next pattern I'm going to show you is not one I was testing, but one that I made as part of a crochet along for this designer. I know I'm going to mess up the name, so I'm just putting it up here. This designer decided to host a crochet along, or a cow, for their celebration of 9,000 followers. And the patterns are all fruit whales. So at the time of recording this, it is day 3 of their crochet along. So there is still time to jump in there and do those patterns, hopefully by the time that I publish this. If not, hopefully they will be available either for purchase or for free on their website. But the first whale in the fruit whale series is this adorable little apple whale. I really liked making this whale because it works up to a really nice size, but it works up quickly. I made this one using Zaddy Crafts yarn and Premier Plush, and it's still a decent size. A lot of no-sew whale patterns that you come across are really, really small. So I like the size of this one, and I like that I have this kind of fun mashup option, and I will have the full set of fruit whales by the time the crochet along is complete. Day 2 was a peach, which I have not completed yet, but I have the pattern. And also the third day is strawberry, which I'm hoping to work on today or early tomorrow. But how cute is this little apple whale? I love it so much. The next item I made was a pattern that I've had for a while from my friend Kelly of Poggy's Place. If you're not familiar with Kelly, Kelly has a ton, and I mean a ton, of adorable patterns that are low or no sew small makes, perfect for market prepping. I live in Colorado, and a lot of states around me, maybe a lot of states in the country, I'm not sure, have kind of a big Bigfoot following. And so I thought it would be fun to include some Bigfoot items for my next market. So I decided to make her Littlefoot pattern. This Littlefoot was also made with the Eojong, and I don't know if I'm saying that wrong, I might be, Edelweiss yarn as well. It's linked to my Amazon storefront. The makers of this yarn are also the makers of Moja Dream Marshmallow yarn and Marshmallow Plus, which is another yarn line that I really enjoy working with. It does not shed when you're working with it, which makes it really great if you like make a mistake and you need to pull out some of your stitches. I find that yarns that don't shed are really helpful. Another really great non-shedding yarn obviously is Zaddy Crafts. Zach, who is the creator of Zaddy Crafts yarn, is based in Australia. And while I absolutely adore his yarn, being a US business, I can't necessarily afford the shipping. But I do love that yarn. And I'm hoping that once things, I don't know, hopefully even out, I'll be able to place another order with Zach soon. Anyway, this pattern can also be turned into a Yeti. I forget the name of her Yeti, but I will double check and put it here. It comes as a pattern pack. You can also make the Littlefoot with some kind of like curly hair on the top. So that is super cute. I decided to go without it just to make it a little bit faster to make, but I'm planning on including a few of these at my next market just to see how it goes. I also have a couple other patterns in the works that I can't share with you quite yet, just because one of them is top secret. That pattern is going to be part of a Halloween crochet along that is being hosted by my friend Lauren, Comet Moth Crochet, and myself, along with a bunch of other remarkably talented designers, are writing patterns just for the crochet along, and I'm so excited for it. The crochet along kicks off in September of this year. And so we're all right now working on designing our patterns, getting our patterns tested, and things like that. I will tell you 2 things about my pattern, and we'll see if you can figure out what it is. 1, it's not something I've ever made before. It's not something I've designed before or something I've crocheted before. And 2, it is technically horror themed, although I made mine kind of cute. So if you are a subscriber over on Instagram, you've already seen the full reveal. My subscribers on Instagram get all the sneak peeks, all the behind the scenes. They get priority selection for pattern testing and other things. So they've already seen the full reveal, and they are also some of the ones involved in testing. The other pattern I've been working on is going to be my next pattern release. And I'm not going to show it to you yet because I think I may want to put some finishing touches on it. But I will say, if you are familiar with some of my older patterns, like some of the first patterns I ever wrote, this will be one that I think you will like. It is an updated design for one of my older patterns. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So maybe if you think you know what it is, drop an emoji, drop a comment down in the comment section. The next thing I want to update you on is that I did finally find a market for the month of July, and it is on July 17th. I'm really excited because this will be my first outdoor market. As you know, if you've been following my journey, this will only be my 3rd market, and I figured it was time to try an outdoor market. But that means I did have to order some equipment. So in addition to the things I've already gotten, I've also ordered an outdoor tent and weights for my tent, because here in my state of Colorado, I've noticed that a lot of outdoor markets require a certain weight per leg if you have a tent. I'm generally seeing that it's recommended you have at least 40 pounds per leg, so I bought a lot of weights. I didn't want to go with sand or water weights because I didn't want to have to deal with filling them up or the water getting gross inside of them. So I got some recommendations from my very dear friend Allie of Allie Mackenzie Crafts. If you are not subscribed to her channel, you should be. She is, in my opinion, one of, along with many others, but one of the queens of the market crochet vendor population. I've learned a lot from watching Allie's vlogs. I've learned a lot from talking to Allie. And isn't it nice when someone kind of is willing to recommend things? They've done the research, it works for them, they really like it, and you can just go click add to cart. So obviously I trust Allie's opinion, and I got the tent and weights that she recommended. They are linked in her Amazon storefront. I have linked them in mine as well. Go pick whichever link you want to use, but I'm very appreciative of her for sharing that information with me and holding my hand as I go through this journey. Some of the other things I still need to get are another 6-foot table, or no, a 6-foot table in general. I only have a 4-foot table and a shelf, so I want to get a 6-foot table, and I need another tablecloth for that table as well. If you've seen some of my previous videos, you know I'm not super thrilled with the table runner that I got off of Amazon for my logo, but I am going to continue using it because I can't just keep spending all this money before markets. So my big purchases, like I said, were the tent and the weights. And now I need to get a table and a tablecloth to make sure I have enough room in my 10 by 10 space. But I'm very excited. Thankfully, the market is only 3 hours long and it's in the evening, which means I will have some shade. Temperatures will hopefully be lower. I am a little nervous about the fact that it's going to take place in a parking lot because a lot of times the asphalt can like really absorb heat. So I will be bringing at least one fan, if not potentially purchasing another one, because I get very hot very quickly these days. Okay. If you're in your 40s, you know. Anyway, so that is what's coming up next for Pocket Full of Posies. Stay tuned because I think in my next vlog, I'll be going through a mock setup and then also taking you along with me as I get set up for my first outdoor market. Before I sign off today, I did want to share with you a yarn that is new to me that I am very excited to try out, and that is this jelly yarn from the yarn company Senilco. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. This yarn company reached out to me on Instagram and asked if I would be willing to test out some of their yarn. I went and found a pattern that I was interested in making and kind of told them what colors I was looking for. And so they were very generous in sending me 5 skeins of yarn. And what I'm going to be making is a capybara pattern, which I will share more about when I actually make it because I can't remember the name of the designer. And I kind of just want to show you it when it is finished. So I will also be sharing that in my next vlog as well. But I figured, why not open it up and give you some first impressions before I get a chance to use it. Now, I heard about this yarn originally from my friend Allie Mackenzie Crafts, who I believe heard about it from Hooks Nooks. And I think this is the American version of a yarn that Hooks Nooks uses. This is called Jelly Chunky. They also have a chunkier yarn and they have a sparkle line, which I'll be able to show you in a minute. But I got this beautiful green. I do not have a yarn that is this color green at all on my massive yarn wall, which I'm not going to show you right now because it is a disaster. But I love this green. I feel like with greens, you're either getting a really dark green or kind of a muted green. I love that this is bright without being overwhelming. It's kind of like a grassy green. This skein is 131 yards or 3.5 ounces or 120 meters and 100 grams. It is very soft. In terms of thickness, I would say it's probably about as thick as Posh or Premier Parfait Chunky. I don't reach for those yarns as often just because the projects tend to work up smaller for me. I'm hoping that I can get away with using a 5mm hook with this. I think I can. It feels maybe slightly thicker than Premier Parfait Chunky, but not quite as thick as Premier Plush or Sweet Snuggles Light, which I use a 5.5mm hook with generally. It's definitely not as thick as Bernat Blanket, so I'm going to try it with a 5mm hook and see how it turns out. This color is 100-73. If you're interested, you can order this yarn off of Amazon, although I haven't seen it available for next day shipping, which is fine. It does still ship pretty quickly, and the shipping is included with the final price. I will say this yarn feels very soft, and it's definitely a chenille yarn. It kind of has a sheen to it too. It feels like it's going to shed, at least the ends of it are going to shed. So I don't know how it will be for sewing, but if you follow me on Instagram, you know I don't fight with chenille yarn when it comes to sewing, and I will definitely be opting for some worsted weight acrylic yarn to sew because who has time for that? Not me. I'm not trying to get frustrated at my projects. If it doesn't sew up well, that will be my plan B. But I think anything I make with this is going to work up really nicely. This is color 100-59, a nice kind of chocolatey brown. I also got this very nice kind of toffee brown. It's definitely a lighter brown. It kind of reminds me of like coffee with a little bit of creamer in it. This is like the color I like my coffee. And this is color 100-57. I got 2 of these because I wasn't sure how much yarn the pattern that I'm planning on using this for will actually take. I'm thinking I'm going to be able to get multiple projects out of this though, just kind of holding it in my hands. And then the last color they sent me is this really pretty kind of bubblegum pink. This is again another color that I don't seem to have. I either have like a really muted baby pink or a really vibrant kind of almost neon pink. So I'm excited to kind of have this bubblegum pink. I think this would be pretty for flowers. I think it would make a great round video game character who likes to eat a lot of things. If you know, you know. I don't want to get dinged for trademark stuff, but I'm pretty sure you all can guess. He's got little red shoes. I think it would be a really good color for that. And I'm very excited to use it. This color is 100-42. And I want to show you, I'm going to run downstairs real quick and grab something else that came with the yarn. And if I'm not mistaken, it may come with every purchase. I'm not sure if it comes with every purchase or every first purchase, but I'm going to show you what they sent. Okay, so what I have right here is something that I think all yarn companies should do. I don't know how hard it is to send out something like this. I'm not a yarn brand, but especially for companies that sell exclusively online, this is so helpful. This is a yarn sample booklet. And so basically what you have here is all of their available yarns, all of the colors, so you can see them in person, and all of the color numbers. You can also see all of their sparkly yarns, which I didn't even realize they had, and now I feel like I definitely need some of these. But this is called Jelly Chunky Glitter. But look at the color range on this yarn line. Like, this is impressive. There are definitely colors in here I have not seen other brands carrying, so I'm interested in grabbing some of these. Like, I feel like most yarn brands have like a couple greens and that's it, but they have such a wide variety. And look at the browns, okay? And like, all of these neutrals are beautiful and would make amazing skin tones. I know a lot of amigurumi artists complain that there are not enough skin tone yarns available in like chenille and things like that. And here we have all these beautiful neutrals that could very easily also be used as skin tones, hair colors, etc. I mean, they even have like multiple grays. It's just a really wide variety, and I love the way that they're organized. It's so just pleasing to the eye. So I'm going to let you get kind of a close-up look of all their colors. Sorry, I'm not type A, but I have type A tendencies, and those took over as I was looking at these yarns. Anyway, so I thought that this was a really cool thing that they included. Like I said, I don't know if they include it in every order. If I only got one because they were sending me free yarn, by the way, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I love it. I really hope they're not sending it with every order, because I feel like that could be a huge expense on their part. But I mean, I will definitely be hanging on to this and using it for future orders, because, you know, online, like, the colors can just turn out completely different than what you're expecting. I will say, looking at their Amazon storefront though, these are pretty close to what I was expecting. So that's also good. They're like taking good photos of their yarn. Those are the things I can say about the yarn so far. I'm excited to try it and share more of my thoughts about it with you in my next video. But if you're an eager beaver and you want to just go ahead and order it, the things I can tell you is it's priced well. It's, oh, this is a huge one, especially if you're making things for children. It is OEKO-TEX certified. I'm also probably saying that wrong, but basically these yarns have all been tested for like over 1,000 different potential harmful chemicals, which not all yarn companies can say. And a lot of the yarns that people are buying on Temu and Amazon, they don't have this certification. So be careful with what you're buying. I know that most, if not all, Bernat blanket yarns are certified. Michaels has told me that their Sweet Snuggles Light are certified, but I haven't seen the receipts. I haven't seen the certificates, but these are, and it's on their label. So to me, that's a really big deal. Well, friends, that is all for now. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you stuck around this long and enjoyed the video, please make sure that you engage with it, give it a like, leave me a little comment. You can just leave an emoji to say hi. You don't have to leave a very long comment, but any interaction with the video obviously helps the algorithm know that this is content other crocheters are interested in. If you are new here and you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and you can also turn on notifications so that when I post a video, you will be notified. Anyway, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!